Clark has landed herself a new, very high-profile position, and I've been wondering when this was going to happen. I knew at some point, somewhere, with some miscellaneous media outlet, Caitlin Clark would get a gig, and now we know where that gig's going to be, when that gig's going to be, and who that gig's going to be.
Caitlin Clark recently secured a job that no one anticipated. Not with Turner, not with ESPN, and not with NBC Sports on their main basketball, music, show. And the timing of this announcement tells you everything about where the power really resides in women's basketball right now. Because the biggest star in the league recently signed a contract that allows her to enter the offseason without any disruption to her brand momentum, while the WNBA Players Union is threatening to end the 2026 season due to CBA negotiations.
You know, I don't know how much. There's no CBA right now. And this, of course, would run through, let's see, at least May, in theory. I don't know. We don't have any dates that stretch that far yet. I still think they're going to get the CBA.
On February 1st, just before the Lakers and Knicks face off at Madison Square Garden, Caitlin Clark makes her debut as an NBC analyst. She will return on March 9th for the Thunder vs. Knicks game, two of the most well-known NBA games available. Additionally, a WNBA player who has never done TV commentary is assigned to the Hall of Famer's desk. That's not a trial run. That speaks to her ability to capture attention.
If there is a new CBA agreed upon before then, again, I've told you guys, I've got the over-under on February 15th. I just have a feeling. That's just my gut feeling that when push comes to shove, again, I believe a lot of players.
This is the fascinating part. October 2025 marks the expiration of the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement. If their demands aren't satisfied, players are already threatening to sit out. However, Caitlin Clark recently secured a source of money that will last her until May 2026. She has USA basketball commitments in March for World Cup qualifying, regardless of whether the WNBA season takes place. She has an NBC contract that runs through the spring, and she is gaining influence independent of the decisions made by the Players Union.
On the line, we want to sign the deal. But that long wait doesn't mean Caitlin Clark has been away from the game. In fact, she notably suited up for USA basketball training camp in December, has expressed her dedication for participating in all-team USA events with FIBA World Cup looming in September and qualifiers taking place in March. So she has and will get the needed reps before finally taking the floor again with the Fever. In the meantime, she will be keeping busy.
She was hired by NBC to do more than just discuss basketball. She pushes needles, which is why they recruited her. Their jewel in the crown is Sunday Night Football. Additionally, the pre-game program that establishes the scene is Football Night in America. The exact same format is now being used to start Basketball Night in America. And Caitlin Clark is joining Maria Taylor, Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, and Reggie Miller on the panel. That isn't roster padding. They think she belongs there, thus they are listing her name with legends.
Wow. So this would be akin to, they have Sunday Night Football, and it starts with a pregame show called Football Night in America. I didn't know they were creating Basketball Night in America, but here we are.
Consider what NBC is actually purchasing in this case. They recently obtained the right to broadcast NBA games beginning in 2025 to 2026. They also aired WNBA games, and the one player who can connect the two audiences, casual fans of women's basketball and NBA coverage of women's basketball, became their employee. Although her basketball IQ is undoubtedly excellent, this isn't about it. This relates to her capacity to pique people's interest.
Despite his limited role, simply having Jordan as part of the coverage created buzz. NBC is surely hoping Caitlin Clark's involvement will do the same. Of course, Caitlin Clark is expected to offer unique insights in assuming the analyst role for the first time, and her basketball IQ cannot be questioned. So the transition will be a seamless one for the Indiana Fever's star point guard. NBC will also have WNBA coverage for the upcoming 2026 season, so Caitlin Clark will surely appear.
Sam Flood. She is one of the most compelling athletes and dynamic scorers in sports, not just women's basketball, according to NBC's executive producer. Additionally, that phrase "its music" is important since it conveys NBC's intended positioning for her. She isn't being marketed as a diversity hire or a novelty. She's being promoted as someone who understands the game at the highest level and can express that to viewers. This is where things become complex, though. Caitlin Clark's 2025 season came to an end in July due to an injury. The 2026 WNBA season is slated to start in May. If there is even a season in 2026, that is a 10-month break. She is also maintaining her visibility, relevance, and income through endorsements at that time. Basketball in the USA. And now this deal with NBC. Other WNBA players, however, are observing that their options for off-season income are still restricted.
Let's go over here. This is the official from NBC Sports, the press release. And it basically does say the same thing. However, Caitlin Clark is going to join the studio team of Maria Taylor. She also hosts Football Night in America with Chris Sims and Mike Florio, Rodney Harrison, Tony Dungy, and Jason Garrett. Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter, and Tracy McGrady for pre-game commentary.
The discussions for the CBA will be harsh. Increased pay, improved travel conditions, larger rosters, and a larger income share are all things that players desire. Owners will argue that the majority of that growth is concentrated around a few stars based on attendance statistics and television ratings, and Caitlin Clark is Exhibit A in that argument. The Indiana Fever went from afterthought to must-see television in one season because of her. NBC knows it, ESPN knows it, and every team owner in the league knows it. Therefore, NBC is placing a wager when they announce that she will appear on their premier basketball program before she has participated in a single game as a paid analyst. They're wagering that her well-known brand and devoted following will translate to other sports. They are placing a wager that those who watched her play will also see her talk. Additionally, they are wagering that her presence gives their basketball broadcast legitimacy in a way that appeals to sponsors. Thus, that is quite intriguing. Let's now discuss how this will affect her stance in CBA negotiations. If the WNBA Players Association wants to exert pressure on the owners, they must show unity. However, Caitlin Clark recently showed that she has choices independent of the WNBA season. Through the media, she can earn money. She can earn money playing basketball for the United States. Through endorsements, she can earn money. Additionally, she won't be under the same financial strain as most players if the players' union chooses to wait for a better deal. This does not imply that she will disobey the union or breach a picket line, but it does indicate that her motivations are different. With her Nike deal, she has already ensured generational prosperity. She is already well known outside of the WNBA, and while she is still in her early 20s, her media career is just getting started. Given that she is already working in a very different economic environment, the issue becomes, how hard is she willing to fight for CBA improvements that assist the middle and bottom of WNBA rosters?
That's very interesting. By the way, you can watch these online at Peacock, on the Peacock app, which is NBC's official app out there, and I've got it because, well, there's some decent stuff on Peacock. There's movies, there's a couple of old series I watch on there, and WWE Saturday Night Main Event is on there.
This is the true purpose of NBC's hiring. They are developing content insurance. Caitlin Clark will continue to discuss the NBA on their basketball programming even if the WNBA visa is postponed or canceled as a result of CBA discussions. They have the biggest star in the league already integrated into their broadcast infrastructure, which provides them an advantage when bargaining with her for WNBA game coverage if the season goes as planned. Additionally, they have created a media personality who can carry programming for the next 20 years if she proves to be a natural on camera, which seems plausible given her comfort level in high-pressure circumstances. The analogy to Michael Jordan is intriguing. Jordan's inclusion in NBC's coverage was primarily symbolic. He didn't conduct in-depth research or make frequent appearances. His purpose was to generate excitement and establish credibility. However, Caitlin Clark is in a different position. She has scheduled appearances with particular game attacks. She's joining an established panel of analysts who are expected to provide real insight, and she's doing this while she's still an active player, which gives her a viewpoint that retired players can't match. Consider the strain that she is under. As someone who is still developing her own professional career, she will be evaluating NBA players who are at the pinnacle of their field. If she makes a perceptive comment, it supports the notion, music, that women's basketball players are highly skilled at the sport. Stereotypes regarding women's sports analysis are reinforced if she says anything obvious or generic. In this case, there is no neutral result. Every appearance will be closely examined.